powerful to surrender. We think that it's a weakness, but it's so much power in letting go and flowing with the river, because life is going to do what it's going to do, and we are all going to get chin checked by life one way or another. So I might as well focus on my enlightenment and roll with the river, not fight with the rocks.
Hola, guys. Welcome back to another episode. This is T. Lacey from Shine by Mabukai, where we get your shine on every day in every way. Today's topic today is, are we flowing with the river or are we fighting the rocks? And I have Sierra, the Juice, from the Juice
Hey.
podcast with me today.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Yo estoy bien, bien. We speak
Yes.
too over here.
How you doing today?
Good, hon. I'm excited to get into this and get into everything that it has. I know you and I had our own separate conversation, and that's
Yes.
where this whole thing kind of striked up, and here we are now. And I think it's a really good topic. It was really something that Lauren London said. I think that we saw on Instagram. She had a whole video on her letting go and finding her purpose, and that's really what struck. So when you guys get a chance, check out the post that we have with Lauren London and what inspired the entire podcast. So if we want to jump into it, I mean, into number one, which is
Yeah.
holding on to the rocks. I got that from you. It's
Yeah.
spoke by Sierra over here. She was telling me about, we were coming up with all these different, I guess, analogies on how to break it down into this podcast. And you brought that up. So if you want to explain a little bit more.
Yeah, so I was saying, holding on to the rocks. It's more like a security, I want to say. Because the rocks are rooted and it feels like something sturdy to hold on to. But in reality, it's more like an anchor. It's holding you back from doing everything that you're supposed to be doing, everything you're supposed to be seeing on your journey, you know?
Mm, I agree. And like the fact that you said the rock is rooted. So the rock isn't going to go anywhere, whether that be a man in a relationship, it could be a job, it could be somewhere where you feel stuck, which is an environment, a space, a headspace. But
Mm-hmm.
if we're flowing with the river, why are we holding on to a rock that already has its placement? It's not
Mm-hmm.
going anywhere. The structure isn't going to change. So why are we holding on to that instead of finding our purpose and our own flow and our own healthy, habits and ways so that we can let go of that rock and maybe even move. Sometimes, I know this sounds bad, but sometimes we move to another rock and
True.
we create the same cycle. But I mean, honey, as long as we get from one rock to the next, I think
Exactly.
that's what our our goal is. But that brings me into the next um little piece, which is, it is time to move on
Mm-hmm.
after you notice, hey, I'm really off this job that's not getting me anywhere. It's not getting me closer to my destination through my flow of water, through my travels. This relationship isn't getting me anywhere. How do I let go? Or when I let go, like what happens? Do we hold on
Right.
to another rock? No.
Yes.
But
Oh, so that
sometimes that
brings me to a
happens.
point. I feel like
Yes.
Lauren has said this in the video as well. She said you're looking for branches, and branches can be
Mm.
people or things, to help you move on from the rock. It's still something that's kind of holding you back, but it's helping you go forward. And
Mm.
and I feel like sometimes, holding on to the rock, you could take a break if you need to, but eventually you have to let go.
I
So I feel like
agree.
the rock holding on to it, it's like taking a break from your flow down the river. But you have to
Mm.
eventually let go because you have the whole river to go down.
Right,
You see what I'm
right.
saying?
And I love that analogy about the branches, because branches can, like you said, it can be our support system. So sometimes when you feel like you're holding on to the rock, it's okay to hold on to people that really know you. So that
Hmm.
really good friend, mom, dad, family, sisters, whatever relationship, I don't know, in the church, it might be somebody in the church, your pastor. It could truly be your therapist. Therapy, people, is big, to helping you transition. That's that bridge.
Hmm.
That's that, hey, you want a lifesaver? I got you. And we're gonna get
Exactly.
into therapy too, because that's a whole nother topic
Yes.
that I think, yes, is that we need to engage in the entirety. And that brings me
True.
into the our second point, which is fighting the rocks in the water. So now that we know we have a branch and we might have, a lifesaver, whatever that may be, but we still fight in the water. We done
Mm-hmm.
grabbed onto another rock. We still fight in the water. We're exhausted. You might have kicked a frog in the meantime, kicked a fish by accident because we're fighting it. We're fighting. And what's funny? This reminds me of the time that I went kayaking, and coming upstream was harder than going
Mm-hmm.
downstream because you're fighting against the water. So this analogy just makes sense. I was exhausted coming back
Mm-hmm.
upstream because I'm fighting against the stream and the water and I'm exhausted. And then you sit there, you're like, woo,
Woo.
was this even worth it? Because the coming up, it was good with the flow, but now I got to go back. So maybe we shouldn't
True.
even be going back because technically that's harder. We let go of the rock, don't try to swim back. We let go
Yeah.
of the rock, don't try to swim back. And then also, let's stop fighting the rocks, the water, and everything around us. Stop fighting the branch. Why are you
Yep.
fighting the branch when the branch is trying to hold out to you because that's your support system?
And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like fighting the water only will make you go under faster.
Mm.
Especially if you're holding on, if we haven't made ourselves ready to go down the river yet and we still holding on to the rock and fighting the water. It's like, going under.
I'm like, this sounds like a nice scene out of Baywatch when the
Yeah.
guy sees the person drowning and the person fighting the water
Yes,
and they
the
just go
imagery.
right down. Yup. And they just go right down. That is true. It's almost like you're drowning yourself purposely at this point. There,
Mhm.
you don't want the lifeboat. You don't want the lifesaver. You don't want to let go of the rock. Maybe you did, and now you're just fighting. And then fighting makes you exhausted. I think everybody knows that. When you start
Yes.
fighting in that relationship, you start fighting in that workplace or that tension. You know what I mean? Like it just
Hmm.
doesn't feel right. It's not sitting right.
No.
And
And once
you
you find a
fight it.
peace of mind, you never want to go back to that.
You never
That burnt out
do.
energy. Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm. You never
You learn
do.
how to let go a little bit easier once you find that peace of mind because you already know what it's like, and you know what you don't want it like. So anybody that comes
Mm.
and threatens it, it's like, yeah, you gotta go.
Brings us into our third point, which is going with the flow and finding
Hmm.
purpose, finding meaning, and trusting whatever that is to like a higher power. Like you said, once you find your flow and you realize that, and it's a different type of feeling. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, I like this. And then you see somebody that comes around, whether again, we're not just talking about relationships here. When we get podcast, we want to break it down from family, relationships,
Hmm.
children, past. We want to get down to grandma, grandpa, some generational curses and really figure
Yes.
out what's going on. But once you realize that, it is very hard to that you get that red flag and you know
Hmm.
that they might be a rock. It's very hard to be like, you know what, let me stay over here with the rock. Or let me
Right.
just, I was on my flow, but let me stop on this flow so I chill and grab a little water on this rock. It's very hard because it's like,
Right.
dang,
Or
I
you
stopped
try
my
to
flow.
fight to unroot the rock, to take the rock with you. And it's like, no.
Oh, that was a good one. You're gonna be sweating trying to dig up the rock.
Yeah.
Okay. It's raining, y'all. It's cold. Y'all trying to dig up rocks.
And it's
For
like, no,
real.
just
Dig up dead
go.
things.
That rock is
Yes,
where it's at because that's where it's meant to be.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. And I think that we say these things, but nobody really gives us an outlet or gives us an idea of how do you get past it. We talk about it a
Hmm.
lot. We always hear like, oh, you need to be your best self and let go and find your passion. But how do you do those things? And through thinking about this entire podcast, I was in my head, I was like, what three ways did I help myself or other people help me to be able to get to this place of peace? Honestly, peace of mind, peace of truth, peace of, I guess, self, really. And the first thing I thought about was meditation and journaling. We're gonna
Mm.
take it back to high school. Remember when y'all had
Yes.
your little journal with your little
In
piece? Little
diaries,
yes,
yes.
in diaries.
Dear
But
diary.
imagine, yes, yes. Oh, wasn't that on Moesha? Wouldn't she
Yes.
in the beginning?
Oh,
She'd be like,
Moesha
"Dear
girl.
diary."
But
Yes. I hope, Moesha, you gonna come on here. Hey,
yes.
Brandy, one
Brandy.
day.
Mouth to the sorry, look, getting off track. But
Right, Mo to the E to the yes. But exactly, Mo used to go and she used to journal about her day. And I think that we don't even have that type of imagery or
Mhm.
examples, so to speak, on TV anymore. Because I think we don't see a lot of brown women, and I say brown, and I mean brown across the entire board, because
Mhm.
brown comes in every shade and hue. It goes down, even down to the light, 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 light,
Yes.
to the vanilla. Vanilla is chocolate, y'all. So,
It
you
is.
know what
It
I
is.
mean? It really is. It can be. So I find that we don't see that. So if we don't see another little brown girl journaling and talking about her day and her emotions, how do we know to do that?
That is
How?
true.
And what if
And
you don't
that's
want to talk to somebody about what happened? What if you just kind of want to talk to yourself or release? I think journaling and meditation is a release.
releasing, yes. And
Mm-hmm.
also exercising, like yoga and breathing exercises, that definitely helps as well. And people
Ooh.
sleep on it. Like it sounds so simple and so corny, but these things really do work. Like if you try them, you will see. They really
You
do
really
help.
will see the difference, especially with the breathing techniques. Now that you brought that up,
Mhm.
I'm like, I haven't done any breathing techniques
And
lately,
I've been trying to do
but
that with my kids too, because my kids are a little rowdy. So I'm like, you gotta breathe. I'm like, smell the flowers, blow out the candle.
right,
And it's
no,
so
but
cute.
that's
They're like,
great,
ooh, ooh. And I'm like, yes, okay. Now I'm like, you calm?
right. But do you feel better? And it's true because you do. And I think just you even bringing that up about how you're teaching your kids, your children now, how to literally meditate, how to have a different technique when, oh, I'm angry or I'm really sad or, I don't know what to do with this energy. Oh,
Mhm.
let me stop, let me count to 10, and let me take a deep breath. And then I can tell mommy or daddy or grandma what's going on with me, because then they could communicate effectively and efficiently. I love that breathing
Yeah.
technique. I really do because I'm like, I haven't gotten into it. But I will say that through my physical therapy with my back and my hand from my injury, that's a whole nother story, guys. But I have some issues with my sciatica and my neck. And the one thing that was so funny, and I had to catch myself, is that my PT, he was telling me, you need to work on your breathing. He was like,
Mhm.
you are out of breath all the time. He was like, you're all the time. He's like, I don't know what really to tell you. He was like, but breathing. And once I noticed
Yeah.
that, I was like, I'm less tense. Like through our exercises, if I breathe correctly, that in and out, I don't I
Because
don't
you're
get
getting
as
all that
exhausted
oxygen to
quickly.
your cells in your body. And that's a big part in the
Hmm.
music industry too that people don't tell you. Like breathing while you're singing and rapping, like you have to have breath control. So you have to
Mm,
know when to breathe, how much air you gotta hold to say that one verse. So yeah, breathing, it's big.
Breathing is it's huge. It really is. It's huge. And it's funny that you said music and TV because that brings us into our next point, which is change what you see and what you hear. For me personally, I know y'all gonna be mad if y'all listen to this podcast, but I had to chuck the Beyonce CD, y'all. I had to chuck the Cardi B, the City Girls. Shout out Miami-Dade County,
Mhm.
baby, from the day.
Period.
Yes, I did. But those are my favorite artists, and I find that I only dedicate those artists to say my workout. But I can't
Yeah,
dedicate those artists for something that's every day because that type of music is not gonna put me in my best mental, physical, and spiritual health. It's
that is
just
so
not.
true. I've definitely started making myself some playlists, and I have a playlist that I listen to every day, and it's called my mellow vibes. So
Ooh.
it gets my mind right, everything. I love it. And then I have my faves. So all my faves can go from Luther, Michael Jackson to the City Girls to Chris Brown. So
Mm.
when I'm in the mood to either be cleaning or hype, I definitely play that.
Ooh,
But
I
yeah,
like
so I
that.
have, my
Yes.
different things for that.
And even TV too. I find,
Mm-hmm.
again, taking it back to imagery, we don't see us in those spaces of mental or wellness. Let's just say overall wellness. We don't see
That is
overall
true.
positive wellness within ourselves and our community. We see a lot of fighting. We see a lot of cursing. We see a lot of blaming.
Drugs.
We see, yeah, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of drugs. And hey, I'm all about, if you want to smoke you a little weed, weed is
Mm-hmm.
recreational. So if you want to smoke you a little weed, but where's the difference between I'm smoking weed for wellness or be for anxiety or depression versus I'm smoking back to back to back to back because it's cool?
Right, just to smoke it, basically. Like, like you
Yeah, I don't
can't
even
live
know
without
what.
it.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even know what that is. But
Yeah,
again, we don't have those,
using it
you
as a
know,
crutch. That's
yeah,
what it
using it
is.
as a crutch. And then because other people see it, they're like, oh, well, I'm just going to smoke weed all day. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
just gonna, or, I don't know, I'm gonna call my fellow females a B word. That's another thing. I had to kind of chill out on that word as a
Mm-hmm.
black woman and really, I guess, analyze, where does that word come from? Why do we call each other that? Like,
Right.
is there another word I could use besides, or even besides sis? Like, or how about just calling somebody their name or acknowledging them by name or just, I don't know, asking them what they'd like to be called instead, But I
True.
do like the cis word. I do like that came out in play of the B word.
That is
So,
true.
hmm
Don't lie, my favorite. It depends. Because my close friends, I love to say "bit," but not the whole word. You know the
right,
"bit."
like a bee. What's up, bee?
Right, like.
Right.
Well,
But
so
it's
when I
just,
get very excited, I definitely do that.
no, I agree. But it's being more knowledgeable about it so that, like,
Right.
we know we're not taking it to the love and hip hop kind of scene. And I love love and hip
Definitely.
hop. I love what it used to be. I love what it tries to symbolize, but I don't think it's there yet. I don't think it's there
Yeah,
yet. I think
because
it's getting there, but it's
you
not
know
there
the
yet.
drama and stuff is really for ratings, and you
Yeah,
have to keep people entertained.
agreed.
So it's definitely for entertainment, but not in the entertainment that is very good for us, I should say.
Yeah, I
you
agree.
know.
And it hasn't been for a long time,
Yeah.
honestly. And speaking of that, which is what, maybe this is only an America thing. Who knows? Maybe we could take that there next week. But this goes back to, like, hey, change your environment, whether long
Mhm.
term or short term. It's okay to take a vacation from the place, the person, or the people. So I think that goes in with, maybe the television that we watch over here isn't necessarily what they're watching in the UK. You know,
Yes.
or
That
maybe,
makes sense.
maybe another culture would be nice to experience because maybe they don't do this or they don't say this or they're more knowledgeable about this. So I think sometimes we do need to take time out and live our lives. Really live our lives.
Yes.
Learn something new. Go travel. Take that
Get
chance.
some sun. Like the sun is so good, especially for
Hmm.
my melanated beings. Okay, the
Yes.
sun, the sun is
Vitamin
made for
D.
us. So we
Basically,
need to
she
get
telling y'all to get to
outside
Jamaica.
more. You know.
Have somebody fly y'all out. To
Yes.
curls, to love. Now I'm playing. We independent over here. We fly ourselves out. But if somebody wants to fly you out, girl, even better. Boys
A
and
little bit
girls
out.
too. I'm like boys and girls too, because I know that them boys be getting flown out.
I know that they sure do by them cougars.
Right.
Real.
Right, y'all. But it's true. Sometimes you do need a change of space and a change of people because people give you different things that you might not have right now, whether it's love, affection, a different outlook on life, different places. I know every time I go to Jamaica, when I come back, I'm very humbled. I'm very
Mhm.
humbled. I'm very whole almost. I don't know if that's because that's truly home. Like that's where the slave ship landed
True.
and where my great great grandmother was dropped off. So I don't know if that's the humbling experience. I don't know if it's because we're planting, we're, talking to the chickens and the goats,
Mhm.
and we're going to the beach, and it's just more of a wholesome feeling.
That we don't have. Yeah, we really don't have that in America. Like I feel like we're spoiled, to say the
Mm.
least. Americans, we are very spoiled, and myself included. Like, if I didn't have a few things that's available to me now, I feel like I would probably go crazy.
Mm.
But I know how to adapt, so I'll be all right. But everybody doesn't know how. like, last week on the podcast, the Gen Z, like,
Mm.
they might not know how to adapt because all they know is like the electronics and stuff right now,
Ooh,
you
that is
know?
true. That's a good point. We do need to talk about that. Like, how do we go back to growing fruits and vegetables and teaching our
Hmm.
generation? And that goes back to like, maybe that's what our flow is. Like, I think sometimes we try to fight it. I know everybody wants to be a gangster. I know
Yeah.
everybody wants to be the city girls, but I do think sometimes I've met people that I'm like, wow, like you're so smart. Like you're really creative. You know how to do these really cool things, such as say growing, whether it may be weed or, they grow pickles or I don't know, like little fruits on their balcony. Cause I stayed in Miami for 10 years and I saw these really cool things. But then I don't know. They want to be a gangster. They want to be in a
Hmm.
music video with the glats and the garakakak. So, to me, it's just like,
Right.
hold on. Do you not see that you're really good with your hands? Like, you can grow things, like, you can grow mangoes, and, like, maybe we should take
Hmm.
that a step further. And I think we don't truly believe in ourselves, which
And
is my
yeah,
next point, like,
that
believing
is
in
true.
yourself.
And we also don't see it, I want to say, in our culture, in our communities. Like, what famous multi-million grower gardener do we know? So I feel like it's all about what we see as well. Like you
You
said,
know what? Now
changing
that
the
you said
scenery.
that, I'm gonna go on Google and I'm gonna do some research and I'm gonna find a a millionaire from
Mm-hmm.
agriculture or growing, because technically, that them acres and the mules, that
Yeah.
was us. That was us growing. It started with watermelon seeds because they were so cheap, and then we literally took over the watermelon industry. So how
True.
do we
And we
get back
still ain't
there?
even get our acre and a mule.
Right.
Man.
I'm like, we still ain't get them acres in my mule. I ain't got
I want
one.
it. My Russian
Right.
Simpson.
I'm like, hello, take a ship mine to Jamaica. Me want it right next to
Please.
the chicken and cow, right there, sir.
Yes.
Yes, park it right there, sir.
Thank you.
Right. Take it. Have a great day, my dog.
Yeah.
No, but I think that that's what that purpose is. Like, stop, guys. We got to stop fighting our purpose. We got to stop thinking that we need to be perfect to do this or we're not good enough to do whatever it may be. We got to get back into mental health and really into our own wellness so we can kind of stop fighting the river, stop holding
Yes.
on to
Go
the
with the
rock.
flow, baby.
And you know who reminds me, or it just is a great example for me personally? I would say India Ari and Erica
Yes.
Badu. That is the vibes that we are vibrating on.
Yes.
Nothing more, nothing less. I actually want to read out of, who is it? India Ari, that video song that she has. She
Mm-hmm.
says, "And I know my creator didn't make no mistakes on me. My feet, my thighs, my lips, my eyes. I'm loving what I see." Like,
Mm, 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 mm.
how beautiful is that? And even for our men out there, because we might have some men tuning in, um, and I want you to know that that applies to you too. I literally just saw a post on Instagram, and it says they have one that says "I love you, black woman," with different voices, and then there's one that says "I
Ooh,
love you, black man." Like, I love you, black man. I love you,
yes.
black man. I love you, black man. And it's different voices. And I will say we need way more of that.
That
We
just
need
gave me an
more of that.
idea.
I'm like, we got a lot of ideas. But
I love that. That's beautiful. I
it
love
is
it.
beautiful. And you hear different voices. So it might be a little kid or, a grown person, an elderly person. Like, you can tell the difference in the voices.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely across the board, different voices. And they're saying the same thing. And to hear that, it really made me smile. It made me smile on the inside and the outside
Yes.
because I feel like sometimes we're not valued. Sometimes we're not told that we're loved in our community. We're not told that we're hugged enough. I think that definitely is a rooted
That is
issue
true. And
in the
especially for
rock.
the men. Like
Hmm.
I feel like we don't hug our black men enough. We don't tell them that they're appreciated enough, that what they're doing is enough, for the ones that
Hmm.
are doing what they're supposed to be doing and trying.
Agreed.
So
And I
yeah.
feel like if only those rocks could turn into stepping stones. You know, what
Mm.
if those rocks could turn into hand guides to guide that rail down that flowing river? You know what I mean? Something that would
Yes.
create I guess something different than just fighting and turmoil. So I'm hoping soon, you know what I mean? We could definitely get there. And I guess with these three steps that we've given you in this podcast, with meditation and journaling, the breathing techniques, changing your music and your TV and what you're watching and what you're listening to and what goes into your head and your brain and your noggin, and then really changing your environment. We need to learn how to travel and to experience other cultures and learn about diversity because we're so much in one mixing pot, you know, by
Mhm.
ourselves. So, no, definitely. I agree. Are there any last thoughts you want to say,
Oh,
my
yes. I
dear?
want to add, we need
Yes.
to laugh more because laughing is good for the soul.
Mm,
Whew.
mm,
And
mm,
yeah, because baby, when you get a good laugh, it
mm.
really does something. Like I
It warms the
love being
heart.
around people that can make me laugh. And I don't like being around many people, but somebody that can make me
Introvert. I like introverts here.
Yes, I'm very introverted, but around my people I love, I'm very extroverted. So,
Mm.
I'm all in one. So I definitely
Okay, that's a really good lesson thought to laugh. Like live, laugh, and love. Is that what the little sayings are?
yes,
That
live,
I
laugh,
see at
and
Home
love.
Goods, walking around, not supposed to be shopping, buying nothing. I'm like, but I do love those because it does give you an amazing feeling. And like you said, to laugh, sometimes we do need that. A little laughter goes a long way. A little smile goes a long way too. We got to start being more
That's true.
positive. Positive vibes. The energy needs to be on a higher vibration for all of us.
Yes, because whatever's going down now is very low vibrational. We need to,
Hmm.
like you said, listen to better music that helps raise vibrations, things like that. Meditating.
Yes. Ooh, yes. Meditation. No, I
Hmm.
agree. And like you said, exercise. I kind of forgot
Yes.
about that, but exercise releases a lot of hormones and
I was
then
just
you
gonna
get your
say the
happy hormones.
endorphins.
You have the
Yes.
endorphins. So that makes you feel better automatically. So I definitely agree. This was like a really great topic this
This
week.
was
I'm like, okay, guys, we're approaching time. But just know that we'll be back next week, whether it's on the Juicy podcast or on Shine by Mabukai. So don't forget, people, to like, comment, and subscribe to both of our podcasts, Shine by Mabukai.
yes.
Remember that you can stream it on Spotify, Anchor, YouTube. We also have social media and Facebook. Everybody from Mabukai, it's at Mabu, Mabu Kai, and mabukai.com for all your self-care products and your boxes. And shout out to my co-host Sierra the Juice.
Thank
Tell us how we
you.
can find you and stay connected.
You can find me on all of my socials at I am the juice 92. All of the socials the same, boom.
Okay,
So
she
yeah.
told you the TikTok, the Instagram, everything's the same. So you could
Yeah.
definitely check out her podcast too. She has a lot of great things that she talks about on the juice, and it's a little bit more explicit. So y'all already know. Head over there, give her a little shout out and a like. So guys,
Thank
thank
you.
you for
Thank
joining
you.
us. Remember to flow with the water and do not stop for those
Don't
rocks.
stop.
Do not hold on. So until next time, guys, bye.
Bye.